Nerds and geeks, what it is another edition of the legendary Saturday nights of the Nerd-O-Roundtable. Yours truly, King Nerdificent Koala Sharp in the building, joined by Dr. Liz from the freeway. What it is,
Hi
sis?
everyone. Hi everyone. It's been a long time see.
Yeah, back at it. Thomas is talking Cunningham.
Today, Thomas is tired, but I'm here.
Yes, it has been a week of weeks, and I'm glad that we three were able to join. Much love to Anthony from Two Cubicles Down, Ryan Twitch Master McBain, and the one and only Mo Kelly, who are off adulting. But there could not go yet another week without letting it be known what is going down. We've had Aliens Romulus drop. We've had a new edition of The Crow. The Umbrella Academy final season is up and running. The Killers is on, what is that? Peacock. And then you've got
Peacock,
a whole new series or new film, The Killers on Hulu. Look, there's a lot of shit happening and it's dropped. Oh, and then Halle Berry and Mark Wahlberg dropped a film. There's a lot of things out there. Not sure if all is worthy to be seen. I haven't seen anything tonight. I planned on getting into The Killers and The Union because they are at home. I want to see Aliens Romulus because I am a huge fan. Haven't seen it. Dr. Liz, Tom, have either of you seen that?
I have seen Alien Romulus. Have you
Was
seen
it worthy? Was it? I don't know. Dr. Liz, have you seen it?
Absolutely not.
Okay. All right.
Well, then
Tom,
this just gets to
is it worth it?
So I went to see Alien Romulus with my boys and my ex, and I will say that we all enjoyed it.
Okay.
It is a lot better than the last Ripley Alien with Alien Resurrection. And it does leverage the Prometheus. It ties to Prometheus, yes.
Really?
But not directly. It ties to Prometheus by way of the black goo that turns into the mutagenic agent that kind of created the eggs and all that. They ended up trying to reverse engineer it. And so they were studying the alien that Ripley blew into space originally. They captured Weyland Yutani, captured that alien and started doing research on it.
Damn.
And they ended up trying to reverse engineer, and they ended up with the black goo. And there were some very nice callbacks to the original Alien movie, because the android from the original Alien movie, or a copy of that android that looked exactly like that android, is featured prominently in this movie.
Okay, so there's a through line. There's a through line with the film.
Right. They de-aged the original actor to make him look more or less like he looked in the original Alien. And his body is more or less in exactly the same condition from the first Alien, which is kind of funny too.
Wow.
And so interestingly enough, just like in Aliens, that the android was named Bishop, this android is named Rook. And so it's clear that they were following kind of like a chess sort of thing. And I don't know if that's supposed to be a subtext. I will say this. There's another alien who features prominently in the movie, and he's black. And he has quite an interesting arc. And so, again, you kind of figure Weyland Yutani needs to give it up. Like, y'all ain't never gonna capture this goddamn thing and make it into a bioweapon or whatever. They supposedly tried to have a quote unquote better mind and a better motivation about the experiments that they're doing this time. But of course, it's still all fucked up. So, but I will say, up until like the last 10 minutes where you know, a lot of movies suffer a third act malaise.
Mm-hmm.
The thrills are good. The oh my gosh moments are good. The callbacks were very enjoyable. The end got to be a lot, but at the end of the day, I found it to be enjoyable. And it managed to introduce certain elements from Aliens, even probably the most famous line of Aliens, but delivered by a different person.
Okay.
It was Sigourney Weaver's line, if that gives you a hint.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver's best line in that movie. They do find some way to recreate it. I don't know if there's any internal logic into why, but it's said, and of course, it's one of those moments where, like, if you're a fan, you're just gratified to hear it. You don't really care how it works. And so I enjoyed it. It's not perfect, but it does share similar atmospherics with the original Alien, and then the guns, those rapid fire guns that have 400 shots in them, that weapon is featured in this movie, and they do a lot of cute little things with the acid blood and you know how it works and all of this, and there's definitely some human android antipathy that kind of plays out, and there's some people who get their just desserts and all that sort of stuff. So up until the last 10 minutes, I think it really, really works well. And then, you know, it's similar in structure, obviously, to the first Alien. So it's kind of like, I've heard people compare it to The Force Awakens in that way.
I was just about to ask, is it similar to how
it's not
how it follows those same beats as like how they did with the Star Wars?
I mean, yes, it's not a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, technically, I guess it is a reboot, but it's not a retread. Obviously, all of the Alien movies are somewhat familiar because in all of the Alien movies, for whatever reason, nobody's ever seen a broadcast from Weyland-Yutani that these things are fucking horrible.
Well, no,
and
because you know,
have eggs, get the fuck out. So
Weyland-Yutani has learned to not do what they've done with Jurassic Park, where their tragedies keep getting broadcast around the world. They learned in the future, hey, don't tell anyone.
Keep that shit quiet.
Keep that shit quiet.
Well, it's hard to keep, you know, dinosaurs
a secret.
quiet.
Yeah,
but you would think it would also be hard to keep an entire colony disappearing and they vanish. That it would be in the future. That still seems like it would be hard to keep that quiet.
I mean, like, for example, we have 2 astronauts trapped in outer space. It's not like who knows when
but everybody knows they trapped.
We all know, yeah.
I didn't
and we
know
all waiting for them to come home.
A while.
If it was 700 astronauts trapped in space, it would be the only story on TV.
Right?
Let's be clear.
I feel like
Weyland-Yutani, they're the ultimate corporation. They know how to keep some shit quiet.
And they listen, they are absolute trash. I mean, they do lean into, in the first act, they lean into a little bit. I mean, I hesitate to say this, but in the way that the right has co-opted woke, it feels a little woke because it is super anti-corporate, but Weyland-Yutani is the perfect corporation to be anti-corporate because they're trash. So I think it was worth
any
it.
more than OCP, because OCP, man, OCP is pretty corporation.
But see, first of all, OCP is just on Earth, but
they destroyed all of Detroit. It's their fault.
I mean, Detroit's only now getting habitable. Let's be clear. It was trash, a burning trash heap for a long time. It's coming back. My sister lives outside of Detroit, and they definitely it's experiencing a rebirth. I'm just saying, I enjoyed Alien Romulus. I could see how it could be a reboot. They definitely left the door open to a sequel, and unlike
and word has it that Disney is all in on this. They're rebooting and relaunching the comic book series, and you know, through Disney, when I say Disney 20th Century Studios, that they will be doing more with this, because this film here ties into the new series that is actually dropping. There is a series that is dropping, and the tagline for the series is "On Earth, everyone can hear you scream." And
well, I guess that says what it
so what
is.
they're saying is that
They get to
whatever
Earth.
supposedly happens in this leads to what happens in the series, where the aliens come to Earth and all type of shit goes wrong,
Well,
which as you can imagine.
I don't see necessarily how this movie could be a prelude to that. Without
No. I don't know if it's a prelude, but they say that there is a connection between the film and what happens in the new series that is going to be on, I believe, available on Hulu and Disney Plus or whatever.
Okay,
So
well, it's certainly
so I don't know.
possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it, and my
Nice.
boys really enjoyed it. There were a lot of oh shit moments, and so I like oh shit moments, and so I was perfectly fine with it. I enjoyed it. It was worth my A-list membership fee.
Unlike my Borderlands, that was not.
Yeah, you please go on ahead and
You know what?
and
Hey,
talk away.
you took that L, because that looked like trash, from the trailers to the presentation to the fact that every single gamer I know was like, "Fuck that film. This film has nothing to do with Borderlands." But please let us know.
You know what's
Is it
interesting
worth
is
it?
no, it's not. But what's interesting is that my daughter was like, "Oh, this feels like a video game," and I think part of it is because like the things about video games where you have a million people coming at you.
Yeah.
One person is going to beat up 1,000 people. So like you have that quite a bit. And it's kind of hard. I know this sounds ridiculous to me, but it sounds ridiculous to say, but it felt like a joke because Kevin Hart is an action star. And knowing that he has a couple of shows, he had a show that came out on, he had a sequel that came out on Netflix, which was terrible, about him trying to become an action star.
Oh yeah,
And
Hard
Die Hard Part 2.
Yeah,
yeah,
Die Hard.
Die Hard and then
Part
Die
2.
Hard Part 2. Yeah.
yeah. So Die
Yeah.
Hard was better than the first one, but that's not saying much. And so it felt like this is the movie that he got from that in Die Hard. Like, so
Interesting.
that's what it
Okay.
felt like.
Uh-huh.
So to me, it was like, is he serious? And so the whole time he makes no jokes. He's trying to be super serious.
Wait. You've got Kevin Hart in a movie and he's not telling any jokes?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I felt like Die Hard.
Oh, that's
2, like the
weird.
movie.
That I'm uncomfortable even hearing that. I don't know
No.
what kind of movie that is when you've got Kevin. I mean, if it's not a drama, because I know he did the drama where he was the struggling father, and that, from my understanding, that was very serious and there were no real funny moments. But if you put Kevin Hart in a movie and I go and see it and there's no jokes, I want my money back, because I feel like you've lied to me. I don't know.
And it feels like he's trying to be this action star. He's shooting everyone, and I can't take it serious. Like, he's supposed to be this hired arm person. I can't take none of that serious from Kevin Hart, who is shorter than me. Like, it doesn't, and I'm 5'2", right? So isn't he almost 5'3"? Like, he's shorter than me, or are we about the same height? I can't take none of this serious.
Is this The Rock having an action career, like jealousy? Is that what this is? I don't even understand that any of this makes sense.
I don't either. I mean, he's good in action comedies. He's good because
that's fine.
Breaks up the levity, but
there's nobody who he can make a joke with outside of the robot, and the robot is Black.
I know Jack Black is the robot. Yeah,
Jack Black saves the movie.
Okay.
He at least makes me laugh throughout the entire movie.
You know what's interesting is that's what people hated the most about it, at least fans of it, because it's a robot, so it's just a voice. They're like, why did you not just hire the person who actually does the voice in the game? Character. That made no sense. And I think that there was actually a petition for people to not go see it because they didn't hire that guy. It's like one of those, like, that's the height of disrespect. If you're gonna have just a voice, why Jack Black? There's no need, and nothing against Jack Black. I love Jack Black movies, but it's like that was a bad move on the makers of the film. On that alone, that would have been the main draw for fans. If you're not going to cast people in the films, from my understanding, outside of the guy that wears the mask, There's no one in the film that looks like the characters from
Oh,
the comic story. I mean,
the
from
guy
the
who
video
wears
game.
the mask doesn't ever take off the mask.
No.
So he looks exactly like
He's
the
just a
character.
giant dude who wears this mask,
Got it.
and the character is insane and kills and stuff like that. But they're like, everyone else is like, wait, but why? And then you don't have the dude who does the robot voice. That's just offensive. And again, this film was a colossal failure. When you think this film, I think it was 180 million to make, and I think on opening weekend it did 8.8 million.
Well, look, I was
Opening
in the
weekend?
movie theater. I was in the movie theater with me and my kids, and we had a private screening.
Damn.
My
And
son
that
got up.
and that is not what AMC meant when they said book a private screen.
My son
$36.
My son got up and looked around and was like, "It's just us." And then
Wow.
he turns and he's like, "This movie's marginal."
They're
I was like, when you
not
have a
like us.
9-year-old,
They're not like us. They're not like us.
Man.
it's a terrible movie.
Well,
Now-
I mean, I guess the good news is that it's going to be video on demand in a week and a half. So
Yeah,
It's
immediately.
short.
They're not even going to wait for
No.
this one. They're like, we need to hurry up and get this
Take
to
advantage of
streaming
the
and try
advertising.
to try to do that.
But
Now,
at least it's short. At least it's short.
look, at
So I
how
can
least.
short
watch
is it?
I think it's like an hour and 40 minutes, 45 minutes. That's short.
Yeah,
No,
Hour and a half.
anything under 90 minutes is short. An
Oh,
hour
well.
and 40 minutes ain't short. I mean, that's not long. It's not Lord of the Rings, but
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, that goes by pretty quick.
it
Hour
does.
40 goes by pretty quick.
But I don't think Alien Romulus was that long.
Oh, so they were in and out with that one.
It was zippy.
Okay.
Let's see.
And the dude from Shadow and Bone, the male protagonist from Shadow and Bone was kind of the male protagonist in this movie.
Oh no, Alien was an hour and 59 minutes.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't feel like it, I guess.
Well, that's good though.
Positive.
That means that sped along. Now
And
from
Borderland was an hour and 42 minutes, and it's already out of theaters. Most
Yeah.
of the theaters is gone.
no, it's
Damn.
gone. No. They announced, I think it was this week, that it was going to be leaving theaters and going straight to DVD, having the quickest turnaround in recent years, like immediate, like it came out,
It's like
grand
2
opening,
weeks.
grand closing. Yeah, because it wasn't going to do anything. It peaked at 8.8 million. The very next week, it went by half. That's a colossal failure. That's not even a write-off. But from what's in theaters to what's streaming, I know there's 2 films that just dropped on the streaming platforms that are making a lot of noise, but is it worth it? You have The Union with Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry, and you have The Killer with Omar Sy and the pretty chick, I can't remember her name.
Missandei. It's Missandei and Lupin.
There you go. I haven't seen either of those. Those are on my queue right now. I literally got my TV on, and I was going to start with The Union because I figured that's a faster watch. And I like Omar Sy and Missandei. Every film I've seen them in, I liked, and I like them in them. So I'm like, I'm into The Killer. It looks like, I like a take on a new action female star. So I want to see that. But Liz, did you see The Union?
I did.
Oh, damn, you say it like that? Oh, no.
I had to
No.
Say that like you're passing a kidney stone.
Like, really? Like, you said
I
that
had
like
to
that
stop
hurt.
and go back because Halle Berry is such a great actress, but this ain't it. And I don't know what it is, but
It's Mark
I'm gonna
Wahlberg.
blame it on the script.
And you're blaming it on Mark?
Listen, Halle Berry.
Oh yeah, it was
Why are
terrible.
we in this movie? I mean, it's like, come on, dude. Like,
Yeah, that was terrible too.
there are things that Mark Wahlberg has done which are fine. But if you're anchoring, I even enjoyed the Goofy movie where Mark Wahlberg and the chick who played Tom Cruise's wife in like the 4th Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
he is like a former contract killer, and his dad is like the head of some organization, and the dad is trying to get him to be a killer again, and such and such and thus and so, and he's on the run with the family, and the family thinks he's boring, and blah 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 blah. That was like a silly family caper movie, the part road movie, part whatever, and then climax, and the family ends up becoming badasses and helping them beat grandpa. So, you know, that was okay. But you had 4 people, you had the wife and the 2 kids counterbalancing him, plus all of the killers on the other side, plus his dad. And so all of that, you know, he was kind of relatively small. If you're hanging an entire movie on Mark Wahlberg and Halle Berry, and that's it, that means he's carrying half of the movie.
Mike Coulter.
Oh.
And I like Mike
I didn't know Mike Coulter was in it.
Yeah, Mike
I like Mike Coulter too. And I've been watching Evil. This is the last season of Evil. So
I didn't mind his role. I think that the Halle Berry's okay, so I liked her in John Wick. Like she can do action.
She was fine. Yeah.
She was
she was fine in Jinx in the James Bond movie. She was good doing action in that.
But she was not that in this. She was not that in this. And I was like, "Oh, Halle, you are you tired? Like, what is this?" It feels like they didn't give you good lines to say.
Was her action okay, or is it the acting that was suffering?
I think the acting was suffering, but I think I'm going to blame it on the script.
Okay.
I thought it was painful to watch, and so I watched half of it and it was like, "I'll come back. Let me finish." Then I watched a little bit earlier today. Then I took a nap. Then I came back. And was like, "Let me finish it."
All right.
So you're saying that it's the Borderlands of streaming movies for this weekend?
It's not that bad, but I've seen worse.
Damn. Okay, so Borderlands was shit.
Well, so I did see The Killer.
Okay.
Oh.
And
what is that?
I was a fan of the original. Okay. John Woo, this was one of his first 2 major movies that kind of crossed over. And so it's very stylized. It's very of its time in terms of it's like John Woo was kind of famous for 2 things: shooting guns like this, instead of like this, and birds inexplicably being in his major action sequence. It's like, and here the birds are flippity, flappity, flippity, flappity, boom, bing, bang, bang, boom, bomb, jump, scream, boom, bam, bang, bang, birds. That's kind of his thing. And so John Woo, who kind of reimagined it and updated it, it's similar in some ways in that you have a killer who relents because of a blind protagonist and a good, hard-driven, moral cop who's determined to take down the killer, but who develops a grudging respect for the killer, and then they end up partnering with each other, blah, blah, blah. So the key difference here is that because they changed the sex of the killer to a beautiful woman, and she is a beautiful Black woman in France, and he is a handsome Black man in France. Now you have the opportunity for sexual chemistry and tension. And so that's the big difference. Lots of pretty cool sequences. Again, when you have skinny white women who are kicking ass of much larger opponents, it's always a little sketchy. I mean, probably the sketchiest version of it was when Angelina Jolie was about 89 pounds in Salt, and she was literally like, you know, throwing motherfuckers out of windows and stuff. They do a pretty good job of her using her sexiness in some ways to be an assassin, but also she's a lot of the times she's either using an opponent's weight against them, like with some, judo-y sort of stuff.
Okay. Some Aikido or some judo. Okay.
Right. So it's not like she's picking these dudes up. And if a bigger person gets on her, she can't easily knock them out or knock them off.
Right.
So it kind of works. And she and Omar Sy do have chemistry. And he has proven himself to be a star with the Lupin series on Netflix, although the second season was not as good as the first season. And I didn't even make it through the third season. And they do kind of set it up that there could be a sequel. And so it was fine. I mean, Sam Worthington is also an antagonist. I don't remember enough about the killers to remember if his character really existed. I mean, in some way there must be, because he was kind of like her handler. So there must have been a character like that in The Killer, but I just don't remember it being, as prominent as this one is. But it was perfectly fine. I mean, like most action pictures, there's a lot of bullshit. There's a sequence in the hospital where the clips are just magic because Omar Sy literally has a 6-shooter and he must have shot like 25 times. It was very 1980s Michael Mann, just
and similar to The Killer. Like when you go back watch stuff, like what is with this unending clip, dude?
Yeah, right. I mean, it's they must have borrowed the technology from the Alien guns, because it's like, you only have 455 shots. Great. So we're going to use them. But there's definitely some cool stuff. There's some cold-blooded stuff. It's not the same story.
Okay.
The story is changed. But the premise of a lonely killer who, comes to respect a police antagonist or a police protagonist, whatever, and a blind person, those elements are there. Okay. And so it's fine. I mean, it's definitely not. I mean, a lot of Wu fans are going to be like, it's like, but Chow Yun-Fat is too old to do this shit anymore, and so leave it alone. So just get over yourself. And Missandei and Lupin are fine. They've got chemistry and they're enjoyable. I found them to be much more easily believable as a couple than the two characters in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the series.
Okay.
I mean, I know people really like Donald Glover and that other lady together.
Yeah. I thought their chemistry was believable. I thought their chemistry was believable as far as two people thrown into a situation and how quickly a really, really tumultuous situation threw them into each other, and how that ultimately wasn't a thing, that wasn't enough, and it failed miserably. But I feel you. Okay.
But she's cute. He's handsome. They from the first time they meet, it's obviously a thing, and then it's like cat and mouse, and it was effective. It's not the best movie ever, but I found it to be effective and enjoyable, and that's really on a streaming movie. That's all I have time to ask for. So I'm
rated streaming is good enough. I mean, I'll keep that top of the queue for tonight. And I have not brought myself to getting into the fourth and final season of the Umbrella Academy yet, if only because every other season of the Umbrella Academy for me took a lot of uninterrupted watching. It's not a show that I can just have on and be doing other stuff. It's a show that I've always had to pay attention to. And so I really want to be able to get into this. And unfortunately, it's a series where I can't watch it during the week because I can't start an episode when I get home at midnight and be up to caught up trying to binge and be all night. So I was hoping to get into it tomorrow. I don't know if either of you have seen it, but I love the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, it's short.
Short meaning what?
What's a short season?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's that.
Wait, isn't this just half of this season?
No, I believe this is it. This is supposed to be the end of it. Like whatever just dropped, that's it.
I feel grateful for that.
Oh, Tom, man.
Well, no, it's okay. So
that's not giving me hope, man. That's not giving me hope.
No, there's nothing really wrong. with the show.
Okay.
Except you motherfuckers have tried to destroy the planet like 3 times already. And now they brought back the Ben character, who really wasn't a part of the first 3 seasons.
The octopus brother.
The octopus Cthulhu guy.
Okay. Yeah.
And Cthulhu guy, he's kind of the feature. He is the character who ultimately puts the team and the world in jeopardy in the way that the Victor character put the team in jeopardy in the first one. Okay. And I don't recall in the 3rd season whether or not they dealt with Paige's transition, but in this season they're pretending almost like it was always Victor and Victor was always a brother.
Yeah, no, they didn't. In the end of the 3rd season, they really actually between her and Whisper, or him and Whisper, they kind of really drilled down on the relationship between them as sisters. And I remember that Elliot had discussed that in interviews prior to it, saying, you know, as far as addressing how they were going to handle the change. And he said, I'm an actor and actors act. So it's no problem for me to continue playing this character as this character stands. And I believe that Netflix responded saying, we are going to do right by this transformation. So, I mean, I guess it's good to know that they did, and they did own up to that in this final season.
Yeah, but they did that in season 3. Remember, I think the way they reconciled it was in all of these different lives. It's, if I'm not mistaken, all these different lives are different experiences. She was him.
I believe towards the you're correct.
Yeah, because I remember that
was like the final.
In the climax, Paige was definitely Elliot.
Yeah.
Paige was, yes. So,
and then it just made it seem
like after that drive-through movie theater sequence, and then they kind of like when they got back to the hotel.
I will say the thing I like about this season that they kind of change up is that because at the end of the 3rd season, they all lost their powers.
Yep.
The marigold was stripped from them. And so, the Umbrella Academy gets their powers back. I mean, shocker. But it's kind of like a secondary mutation of the X-Men. So the powers don't work exactly the same way. So Whisper Girl, Rumor Girl, I heard a rumor, which I always thought was the dumbest friggin' thing. Like, just cutting out your voice means you can't use your powers, because you've got to say, I heard a rumor. And then
as they did when they did slit her throat, she was useless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So her powers change. She doesn't have to say anything, and she can control you. It basically looks like, as long as she has line of sight with you, she can control you and make you do. And then the big gorilla dude, in addition to being physically strong, he also has a measure of, high durability, let's say.
Okay.
And he's a lot more like the Beast, I guess, because he also gets agility and all these other sorts of things. Personality-wise, he's still a ridiculous sad sack, but, there's that. And Cthulhu Boy, them tentacles is deadly as hell. And then the Victor character, instead of not having any control over their power, now they can use their power a lot more usefully.
Okay. Like more focused.
Like shooting it from their hands. It's not like this heartbeat thing that turns into an unbelievable bolt of power that could destroy the moon and then consequently destroy the earth. It's different. And then 5 can't blink and teleport anywhere. He can only blink like to this way station of different timelines and different realities. And so that's kind of a subtext of the movie. And then Diego in addition to just having like perfect aim, so Diego's kind of like not only Hawkeye, but like if he throws something, it hits whatever. Now Diego can actually manipulate other weapons that come within his sphere of radius of influence.
Nice.
So there's a really cool sequence where he discovers that about himself to a very dramatic effect. And then what's his name? The guy who used to be able to see dead people. Now Klaus. Klaus is effectively immortal, and his powers work in an expanded way as well. So that's interesting. And that's something
that sounds dope. Yeah.
But it's like, once again, one of the persons in the Umbrella Academy is accidentally potentially responsible for the destruction of the Earth. And it's like, okay. And of course, despite the fact that this has always been the case with the Umbrella Academy, he doesn't want to hear it.
Okay, so it's tired.
It's tiring.
It's tired. Okay.
I haven't gotten through all 6 episodes. I was in the middle of like the 4th episode, or maybe the beginning of the 5th episode, and I was just like, how many more of these? And so it's fine. I'm glad, like I said, I'm thankful that I don't have to spend too much time watching it. Okay. So with that,
you know what? Tina is right, though. We did not ever talk about Cobra Kai.
We did. No. We did talk a little bit about
we didn't get into it.
We didn't go in deep.
No,
but
it was mentioned. It was
yeah.
mentioned during the Deadpool episode, but we did not do a deep drill down into it.
Yeah. I mean, we all said we loved it. I think we were going to come back and talk about Cobra Kai, and actually also she's right. Actually,
The Boys is probably the bigger one that has been ignored.
I mean, damn, look, The Boys. The Boys was phenomenal. The Boys was absolutely pitch perfect, phenomenal. For me, when The Boys got to the end and Sister Sage walked into that room and saw Homelander, and he was sitting there looking like someone took his favorite toy, and he's like, what you know, basically, what are you doing here? And she's like, I came to show you that the plan worked. And he's like, what plan? Everything fell apart, and this, that, and the other. And she's like, fool, the plan that I set forth and I told you was going to work. And she turns on the TV and she's showing him all the things that happened because she set up, and all the ways that it worked. When he says to her, I treated you like trash. I kicked you out. Why? And she looks him dead ass in his eyes and said, because I wanted to see if I could. That sent a shiver down my spine, because I looked at that as a representation of how African Americans have fought and continuously fight and strive, really in corporate America, and how we are constantly disregarded, looked down upon, and we never really get that shine, and we do it fucking just to show motherfuckers that we can, and we take pride in that, and it's just like that. Oh wow, such a great project. This, then you saved the day. And it's like, yeah. And it's like, we do it because we want to show ourselves that we can, in spite of all the shit that's thrown at us. I literally stood up in my fucking room and clapped. I was like, you go, you are Black girl magic living. And she just walked away like, see you later.
Done.
I'll show you the next part of the plan. And I'm like, dude, I loved everything about that season just for that moment right there. Everything else was classic Boys. It was over the top, grotesque. The action was there. I love the story development. All that was there. You know, and there wasn't really much surprising outside of Vice President Head Popper, you know, getting dispatched. That was like, oh shit, I didn't see that coming. Other than that, everything else was fine. But I don't know, something about that moment for that character, it meant something so serious for me. I felt that in a major way.
No, it was awesome, and I am looking forward to Gen V season 2, which feels like it's necessarily going to be a space filler, since they're saying that there's not going to be any Boys in 2025. It's not coming back until 2026.
Yeah.
So clearly they've got to run season 2 of Gen V, which has lost one of its major stars. And so it looks like we're going to be focusing on the sister who controls blood, which I still don't know why they haven't decided that her name is Stigmata. Her name needs to be Stigmata.
That would be dope.
Why they're not doing that. And then the girl who shrinks and grows. Because the other 2 characters who are major characters in Gen V have gone over to the dark side. So that said, I'm going to leave you all to it because I've just gotten a text from my son and I've got to go pick him up. But you all can feel free to continue to while away the rest of the hour. And
well, no, actually, that means that we're going to have to wrap it up because I have no control of stopping the show. I have no power, nothing. So the show would just go on and on and on.
No powers. He has no powers at all.
I have no
And
power.
you know, we could talk about Cobra Kai in September when we get the second half.
Yes, there you go.
That would be a great way to deal with that. And then, Tuala, I don't know about you, but I know that we've kind of isolated this to Saturdays, and I don't know if Saturdays is the only day, but if we can do little snippet episodes like this on a regular schedule, then we don't have to wait for everybody because we can just say, hey, we're going to do a snippet. It's going to be a 30-minute show so we can get in and out, and whoever is available can do it, and we can just commit.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
We'll figure it out. We're going to be nerdier.
Yes.
Promise.
More nerdiness coming your way. And with that, Dr. Liz, take us out, soul sister.
I have nothing really. As excited as I was this week, I was also kind of disappointed. So I'll see y'all later.
Well, since she said I have nothing, I will say I want to run to you.
Excelsior. Peace, y'all.
Bye.